Hello! The aim of this talk is to present the results of qualitative and quantitative analysis conducted at the initial stages of the SMEthod project and related to innovation patterns of small and medium enterprises. There were three main research tasks. The first one was to review innovation support systems from 4 project partner countries, namely Finland, Poland, Spain, and the United Kingdom. Special emphasis was put on identifying criteria used by different national agencies to evaluate applications submitted by SMEs. The next task was to perform an econometric analysis of the features of innovative enterprises. The results made it possible to test the hypothesis that innovation support was a significant factor stimulating introduction of innovations. Some policy advice was also formulated based on a critical assessment of criteria used by support granting bodies. Finally, conclusions related to efficiency of different forms of support were given. The last aim was to investigate the impact of innovations, innovation activities, and financial support on firms' performance. It was tested whether SMEs' involvement in innovation activities had a positive impact on their growth. The analysis of national innovation support systems revealed some country varieties of support policies. While the main criteria taken into account, like firms' size and age, group affiliation, engagement in experts, effects for the region and local environment, and cooperation with other economic agents were usually similar, their relative importance in the evaluation process differed. The table provides some examples, showing, for instance, that the impact of innovations on regional development and employment was particularly important in Poland, while cooperation with research institutes had a large weight in Spain and the UK. The econometric work was based on 2 distinct datasets. The first one was obtained from Eurostat from Community Innovation Survey 2014. It provided information on innovation activities and output of enterprises from 15 European countries. The second set of data was collected within the SMEthod project by 4 project partner countries and described SMEs' performance in these countries. Both datasets were modeled using multivariate and multi-stage econometric models. Separate blocks of equations were used to explain the probabilities of receiving support for innovation activities from different institutional sources and having various forms, engagement in alternative innovation strategies, like investing in research and development or acquisition of knowledge, and propensities to innovate, and finally, studying the impact of innovativeness and support on the economic performance of the firms, measured, for example, by changes in employment, turnover growth, or cost reduction. Based on both sources of data, the following main conclusions regarding the factors influencing probabilities to obtain support for innovation activities were formulated. Enterprises with experience in obtaining funds were able to prepare better proposals and had larger chances of obtaining them again than enterprises which did not have any experience. This might lead to a policy recommendation that agencies should focus on supporting firms which did not receive any aid in the past. Access to funds was easier for exporters and in some cases also for enterprises being a part of a group. It was also found that cooperation with research institutions and using advisory services had a significant and positive impact on chances of being funded. Furthermore, firms that encouraged creating working teams and those where the number of managers participating in the decision process exceeded 2 were more successful in obtaining additional funds for innovating. However, allowing for a flexible working schedule resulted in smaller chances of being supported. There was also some evidence that equal gender representation among employees was beneficial for companies which were more successful in obtaining certain kinds of public support. Finally, sectoral and regional effects were also found. Some general conclusions related to factors relevant for SMEs innovativeness were as follows. Financial support was a significant factor influencing probabilities of introducing innovations. In particular, innovations which were new to the firm were best supported by local authorities, while innovations new to the market benefited the most from funding obtained from the central government. These results provided evidence in favor of the hypothesis that public support for innovations served the desired goal of increasing the level of innovativeness. Propensity to innovate was also influenced by using bank loans. This impact was, however, negative. The process of introducing innovations was shown to be autoregressive. This might lead to a conclusion that supporting firms which were not innovative before might be an important policy goal. Furthermore, it was found that firms active in foreign markets were more innovative. What is more, they were more likely to engage in the introduction of more radical innovations. Another important factor influencing innovations was cooperation with agents external to the company. The largest benefits followed from cooperating with research entities and suppliers. Furthermore, using advisory services helped to introduce innovations which were new worldwide. Changes to the number of workers affected innovativeness in a negative way, suggesting that employment stability was important for innovating companies. It was also shown that willingness to diversify activities had a positive impact on propensities to innovate. Size of the firm mattered for some types of innovations. While smaller firms were more likely to introduce innovations new to the firm, introduction of an innovation which was new on a world scale was much more likely for the largest companies employing more than 200 people. Going further, the share of management employees with higher education was positively correlated with the probability of innovating. Finally, similarly as for the models related to obtaining financial support, sectoral and regional variety was found. Some specific conclusions were also formulated with respect to effectiveness of alternative forms of support for various innovation types. It was found that product innovations were more likely to emerge if they were supported by local authorities, and less likely to be introduced if financed from a loan. Process innovations were best stimulated by support in the form of a subsidy. It was also found that organizational innovations were more likely to occur if they were supported from a bank loan and aid obtained at the local rather than national level. In the last step of the analysis, both sets of data were used to evaluate the impact of innovativeness and financial support on firms' performance. The results obtained on the basis of the Community Innovation Survey indicated that public support from local authorities, national governments, and the European Union stimulated employment and turnover growth, and that similar effects resulted from investments in research and development and acquisition of machinery, equipment, software, buildings, know-how, and trainings. The conclusions formed using the SMEthod data were as follows. Grants and innovations new to the firm stimulated employment growth. Support from local authorities had a positive impact on the level of assets, while process and organizational innovations resulted in significant cost reductions. Thank you very much for your attention.